Welcome to a couple day. Folks, I want to tell you a Methodist Conference 2023 story, sort of. So myself and Owen were in Belfast and this story has me buzzing. I am absolutely excited by this, and let's just bear with me, okay? Now here's the thing. This whole story revolves around one little verse of scripture. And the little verse of scripture is found in 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 7. And I'll read it to you, okay? And this is what it goes and says. It says, "For we live by faith, not by sight." For we live by faith, not by sight. Now, I am someone, okay, I wear glasses, but I live by sight. I can see where I am going, etc. and all the rest of it. And so the point is that I think that carries over so often into our journeys of faith as people. We end up that we measure the success, the rise or fall of our faith on what it is that we see. But today I want to tell you a story that came out of conference in Belfast. People go, "Oh, conference is boring." Not when God's involved. So the ministerial session was finished for the day on Thursday. And the new superintendent appointed to this area said, "Nigel, would you like to join us for some lunch?" And I said, "Dennis, that'd be very nice. Myself and Owen would like to join you, yes, and your friends for some lunch." And so right there and then was determined where it was that we were going to go in Belfast. Because prior to that, we hadn't really figured on going anywhere. So our journey was set. We were to meet at an appointed place at an appointed time, which was 1 hour and 15 minutes from the moment that we stood at that invite. So myself and Owen had some time to punch in, so we were wandering around a little bit heading in the direction of where we ought to go in Belfast. When next thing we could hear a man preaching on the streets, and Owen, being Owen, had to go check him out. So we did. And Ryan, this is a shout out to you. Keep it up, man. He is one of the best preachers I've heard on the street. I'm just so blessed by his ministry. Of course, Owen and myself, we could not help ourselves. We had to go over and converse with him. And so Owen was going, "I think I know this guy. I think I've seen posts about him on YouTube. I think he was in the paramilitary one time." And sure enough, the man goes and shares one moment in testimony, and Owen goes, "Aha, it's him! We have to go talk to him." So off we went to talk to him. Now, what has this got to do with walking by faith and not by sight? I'm getting there, folks, I'm getting there. So we end up that we're chatting with Ryan, shout out to you, man, and also to Nathan, who was with him. And we ended up that we said, "Listen, would you mind if we have a time of prayer with you?" And so we're praying with him. And as we're praying now, I'm someone, I have to pray with my eyes closed. As we're praying with him on the street, next thing there was this person just right here beside me. I just sensed the presence of this person. And I opened one eye. And I thought, oh no, they have a microphone. They're recording this conversation. But when we finished the time of prayer, I opened my eyes to discover it wasn't a microphone. He actually had a cane, blind man's cane, wrapped up, held in his hand with a ball at the top of it. And so I said to him, I asked him, "So how long have you been blind?" He goes, "Since birth." I said, I was up here a long time ago and I met a guy, and he ended up that really impacted my life. And here's why. As I said, at the outside of this little cupán té, we as people tend to live out our faith by what we see with our physical eyes. I'm a minister in a church. Oh, I haven't seen church growth. There's no extra people in the church. Oh my goodness, I am failing. Because we measure our impact by what we see. But anyway, that's just a little digression there. So I went and I said to this person, I said, this person like you really impacted my life, because I reckoned and I realized that every day that they go and walk by faith, they put their trust in a stick to know where they're going. And that really spoke to me, that I, as an able-sighted person, I know I have glasses on my face, but as an able-sighted person, so often determine where I'm going by how I see things. as against walking by faith, as this man does every moment of his day. And he says to me, where was this guy from? I said, Bangor. He said, I think I may be him. I said, well, if it is, I'm going to mention 2 names. And so I mentioned the 2 names, and he just fell on me. And he just hugged me the same way as David fell on Jonathan. And we just had this time of coming together. He goes, Nigel. He says, you wrote about me in a song. I was like, yes, I did. How does he know this? Because we only met on that one occasion. And then he told me, he says, we met in the summer of 96. And he says, and we went for a walk, he says, and I ended up that my hand was inside your arm, he says, and you led me, and he says, and I was asking you theological question after theological question after theological question. I was just asking you loads of questions about God, because I had loads of questions. And he says, in 96, he says, I knew God in my head. He goes, but we had that conversation as we were walking on the road. He said, 4 years later, he said, it went from my head to my heart. He says, and I gave my life to Christ. I was like, whoa. You know, God was working on my life at that stage. He was going on personally in my life. I had a heart of stone. I was just emotionally dead in myself. And God goes and says in Isaiah that he takes a heart of stone and gives us a heart of flesh. And if any of you know me now, you know I'm a very emotional person. But God did that. God went and softened my heart. And one of the people he used was Dave to challenge me in that. And here we were. 27 years later, united, reunited in a little prayer gathering on the side of a street, because Dennis had said, let's go to such and such a place, because Ryan had decided to go and preach on the way to that such and such a place, and because on top of all of that, Dave decided, because the weather was good, he was just going to be there. Isn't that amazing? And yes, he's right, I did go and put the words in a song. Because you see, he challenged me, and I want to challenge you today. Are you someone, and you walk your life by what you see with your physical eye, rather than walking by faith? Sitting here and the day is through, there's nothing left to say or do. Can't explain, I've lost again, but Jesus leads me by the hand. It's a walk of faith with a leap to begin, walking hand in hand with him, like a blind man trusting in his stick. On the Lord I do depend. Can't you see? He's there for me, leading me, guiding me to the end, through the pain, through the strife, gives me hope for my life. He has promised to see me through, and he'll do the same for you. Yes, my friend, he's there for you. Yes, he wants to see you through. On the cross he cruelly died so we may be at his side. And this is the joy that I've found. A friend who won't let me down. A friend who holds me by the hand, leading me, guiding me. Can't you see? He, Jesus, is there for me, leading me to the end. Through the pain and through the strife, gives me hope for my life. He has promised to see me through, and he can do the same for you. But here's the thing. Today you have to make a decision that you are going to walk by faith and stand in the promises of God. Take Jesus at his word, that when he says he's never going to leave you or forsake you, when he said that he'd hold you in the palm of his hand, when he said that he is going to go and complete the good work that he's begun in you, that he is telling the truth. And you know what, Dave, this is for you, man. I just want to say thank you for blessing me, because in your physical blindness and trusting your stick, you blessed me in regard to my spiritual blindness. Folks, I hope you enjoyed my conference story. So let me just leave this one question with you. Today, are you walking by faith or by sight? Leave it with you.